All right, guys. Good evening. This is Persia 007 coming at you with a very important video that I think could be of some value to some people on here. Today, I'm going to be talking about President Trump, and the title of the video is Dump Trump, a Non-Voter's Opinion of What's Going On Post-Election. Uh, as you guys already know, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have been projected to win the presidency and the vice presidency, which means Joe Biden has won the presidential election against Trump. Uh, I believe Joe Biden has got 306 electoral votes against Trump's 236 votes, I think it is. Um, and Donald Trump has not conceded the election yet. Uh, he has not been public for the last, actually, since Friday, since he gave out that update on the coronavirus vaccine. He gave a little statement from the gardens of the White House. But ever since then, he has been really on his Twitter feed uh, posting false rhetoric about the election, saying the election was rigged, and it is also refusing to start the transition process for the newly elected president-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. My opinion, I think it is a disservice to this country. I think Donald Trump has embarrassed himself. I think he has embarrassed you voters out there that voted for Trump or for President-elect Biden. He has let all of us Americans down. I think this is not how democracy is supposed to work. This is not how elections are supposed to go. You win, you're supposed to congratulate the one that lost. Uh, and if you lose, you're supposed to congratulate the one that won the election, because that is a sport. That's to teach sportsmanship to the American people. So President Trump should have congratulated Joe Biden and his vice president Kamala Harris for winning the election, or projected win, that is. I know the votes ain't finalized until sometime next month, and as you guys already know, the votes are being recounted in the state of Georgia, but that doesn't seem to really uh, amount to anything, because I think they said is like a margin of 800 votes to determine who was ahead in the race in that state, I guess. But uh, I think Joe Biden got the state of Georgia. So, um, but again, I think Donald Trump needs to understand that he has lost. He needs to somehow be coerced into conceding, and somehow something needs to be done to get him to start the transition of power, so they can release the funds to Joe Biden and his campaign team to start the transition process. So when he gets in the Oval Office, he'll be able to work on what he has promised the American people on his speeches. I know he says he's still pushing through and all that, but I still think he's going to need all kinds of money to carry through these promises that he's making to the American people, such as being able to talk to a coronavirus task force, which is not happening. He's uh, not able to really get anything done without the funds needed for the transition. And I really think it's Trump's duty to get this transition going, so when it comes to Inauguration Day, we could start off with a fresh new president that I hope will lead America back on track, and this racial divide will come together, and we all can get along with one another again and be able to not have all these cases of police brutality um, and discrimination against certain people of LGBT color, whatever it be, and and the racial profiling that certain police departments do. I think uh, as a society we need to do better instead of going out protesting by smashing up businesses, uh, starting fires, looting. You know, that I would hope that would all come to an end this coming 4 years. That we will no longer see any more violent protest or the police have to get involved in the streets, having to throw tear gas and having to put their lives in danger because there are people out there that would rather destroy business than instead of getting their voice heard peacefully, they want to destroy businesses to get their message across. And hopefully Biden will persuade the American people to do that. Now, I know since I did not vote, I don't really have much of a say in this, but just from a person's view on the sidelines, when it comes to politics, I just think that this is just a complete madhouse. Donald Trump is actually making history right now by not confiding in the norms of democracy, not doing the traditions that are supposed to be done. And I think, honestly, I think he is a coward for not admitting defeat. A man would always admit defeat when he's lost, and he would also be able to claim victory when he won and still congratulate the one that lost. I mean, not congratulate, but give his gratitude to the one that lost um, for putting in their best efforts. Um, yes, Donald Trump or President Trump gave us the stimulus checks to help American families. Yes, he did do that. And yes, he did attempt to run this nation, but failed in many aspects. And this is just really, I think it's time for Donald Trump to go. And I'm glad that you Americans who voted Democrat were able to get him out, get him out, and were able to get Biden up in there. So I just hope the Democrats come through. They fulfill all the promises. They do what they say, and reason why I don't necessarily vote because I see all this is just like a power game. It's just a game of power, in my opinion, of who says they're going to do what and who says what they're not going to do and what they can do better. But all I want to see is this country come together. I want to see more jobs here in America, not overseas. We need to be working our people in this nation, not sitting jobs overseas. We need to also raise the minimum wage to where people can afford to feed their families and take care of themselves and their loved ones, especially the ones that have kids. We should be able to also make enough money, or Americans should be able to make enough wage to where they can also take a vacation every year to where they can go take their kids to a theme park or be able to go to Italy or whatever it may be and have the time of their life, or even have enough money to where they can plan on meeting somebody, get married, and not have to worry about how are they going to pay for the wedding and all that. And that's the problem in America right now is the jobs are paying barely, I mean minimum wage, but it's just barely enough to even scrape by. It may not even be enough to scrape by for some people. And Donald Trump promised to bring jobs back, and instead jobs went overseas. As you guys buy stuff off the shelves, you can see a lot of it's made in China. Hardly anything's made in the United States. Um, and I think that needs to change. We need to make our own products. We need to make our own phones, tablets, computers. We need to have American people make these electronics, not these other countries. I mean, that's good. We're doing trades with other countries, but when it comes to the cost of us not being able to make a living wage, it's not a good thing. And the workforce is going to dwindle because of that, because people ain't going to want to go work because they're not making enough money to even go to work or to even feed the family or put clothes on the back or even pay the bills. What's the sense of going to work when you can't afford to pay for anything anyway? When you have to pay taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and federal tax, you guys name it. Some of you guys out there who watch these videos do actually go out and work for a living and know what comes out of your check, that you have to pay for, that is automatically deducted from your pay every time you get paid. And I know it's not enough to work on right now, and I feel for you guys that have to go to work 9 to 5, 8 hours a day, or 10 hours a day, or 40 hours a week, that have to come home and still not be able to pay your bills. I feel for you guys, and it's just an atrocity of this nation that we're the richest nation in the world, and yet we cannot afford to pay our workers enough to even live on, as far as being able to maybe take a trip or even do recreational activities without having the power shut off, or without not being able to pay the phone bill or utilities. That needs to change. If they bump the minimum wage from $7 an hour to maybe 15 or 17, that could be a big difference. And there's businesses out there that I believe can afford to do that. They make probably millions upon millions, if not billions of dollars, especially if it's a corporation or an industry. They can afford to pay the workers a living wage. I think $7.25 an hour or $7.50 an hour, wherever it is, or $7.75 an hour, wherever the minimum wage is now, it just doesn't cut it. Especially people have to work overtime and have to end up working 2 jobs because one job ain't enough. You should only have to work one job, be able to come home, have dinner, spend time with your family, friends, or kids if you have any, and be able to have a full 8 hours rest after that. Sleep for 4 8 hours, and not have to work 15 hours a day. But I just hope this country gets back on track. I hope this racism bullshit ends, and I hope these violent protests end very soon. I know there's, I think, still some protesting going on right now because of the Trump voters want the election overturned, and I just don't see it happening. I mean, they've already called the election for Biden, so these people that voted for Trump, they might as well accept the fact that he has lost, Biden has won, and Georgia's going to do the recount, and whatever comes out from that comes out, and you guys are just going to have to accept it. That's all I could say. But I'm just fed up of hearing these stories of unarmed black men getting shot by police. And then there's these violent protests, and some of these protests are actually baseless, because some of these unarmed people that get shot and killed usually end up you doing like a threatening gesture, like they're told not to put their hands in their pockets, and they end up putting their hands in their pockets, and the officer at the point of time doesn't know what's going on. They could be hiding a weapon, a knife, or something that they can throw at the officers. You just don't understand. That's why they always tell you to put your hands up, not put your hands in your pockets. And I think some of these Black Lives Matter, or some of these colored people of color, don't seem to understand that You know, that's why the officers tell you to not put your hands in your pockets, because they don't know what you're trying to vote for, what you're grabbing. So, um, to all the colored people out there, when you get pulled over by the police, again, follow their instructions. Do not do any sudden movements, because that will deter, get them to think that that's a threat, and then they're going to end up fearing for their life, and they can end up drawing their gun on you and not even shoot at you. And you know, that goes for everybody. When you get pulled over by the police, do what you're asked. They ask for whatever, you just do it. Don't do what you want to do, because that's going to get you killed in certain areas. Um, and then we wouldn't have to have these protests going on throughout the nation. We wouldn't have to have these unarmed black men getting shot and killed over no reason, because they did one mistake by putting their hands in the pockets. If they were told to leave their hands on the steering wheel and they wouldn't do it, and they make some gestures, and then they end up getting shot and killed. That's the whole point, because they panic. And I think the police departments too need to be trained on how to approach people of colored, such as black men, and especially, and to the mentally ill and the mentally disabled, people who are not able to handle stressful situations that may react very violently. And I would hope the president will have some force into that, where he'll be able to get the Congress to give out enough money to these police departments throughout this kind of entire country, that will train their officers to better handle the people of color, and maybe be more patient, and make sure that when you give an order out to a suspect, that the suspect conforms to your orders, without having the suspect be all jumpy, nervous, and anxious, to where they're going to make a sudden movement and they would have to draw out their guns, and at some points even open fire. So, you know, this country is completely divided right now. I do feel that this United States of America has fallen apart. Other nations have been doing very well. Seems like the United Kingdom is doing better than we are right now. The people over there are not having violent protests like we are. You don't see this stuff happening in Africa, Mexico, Central America, South America, Israel, New Zealand, Australia. You don't have these violent protests. I mean, you have disagreements politically in other nations, but you don't hear nothing about this. I think we take things way over the top, like we think we're owed something, and really we're not owed anything, other than just to be a normal living citizen, going to work every day, or doing something productive to keep yourself going, keep yourself alive, eat and sleep. That's pretty much all you do. If anything you ask for, you do that when you go out and vote, and that's where I think it should be. And again, I believe this election was fair and square. I think Biden truly won. Donald Trump is still, or was, putting tweets out on Twitter trying to dispute the election results, trying to get them overturned. I know lawsuits that he's filed have gone nowhere. They have either been dropped or thrown out because of lack of evidence. So, no, Trump is dumped. That's all I gotta say. Donald Trump has been dumped. So, I don't know what to say. To you Trump voters, I'm sorry, you guys lost your side of the election, but there's always the next time. So, hope you guys can accept that Donald Trump is lost, and now it's time to move on and move forward, and just give this new president a chance. Every president deserves to have a chance in the White House, whether good or bad. And I believe Joe Biden is going to be a good coming president. I feel he knows what he's doing. He's professional on his speeches and everything else. He's not making up conspiracies or outrageous assumptions of certain situations. So that's about it. So this wraps up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you got any concerns, again, go down in the comment section down below. And don't forget to hit that notification icon if you want to be notified when I go live or post a video on my channel. I always forget to say hit that notification bell. I always say like, comment, subscribe, but you also have to enable notifications. So you guys just don't forget to hit that bell. That's where you'll be notified when I go live or do just a regular video upload. So you guys have a good night out there. Be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.